This is by far the most controversial law of attraction manifesting tool out there, but yet one of the most powerful. It's hard and it's difficult to use this strategy called everyone is you pushed out because it requires you to take responsibility for pretty much everything that's going on in your life. And it points everything towards you, and it kind of makes everything your fault, and it blames you. And it teaches you how to heal yourself so that you can heal the world around you and basically see and attract more of what you would like to attract in your life. You want to imagine your mind as a projector, as a film projector, and it's projecting out a particular movie right now or a story right now. And that story is coming out in your physical reality because your subconscious mind is playing the film of this particular projection. So if you can imagine the external reality as a screen. So you're in a cinemas and you're watching a movie right now, and there's a screen in front of you and you're watching the movie and you paid for the movie and you know exactly what the movie is going to be, right? Because you paid for it. You don't know what's going to happen necessarily, but you've paid for the movie and you know you expect this movie to show up for you. The subconscious mind is kind of the same in a way. Our subconscious mind has specific programs on it. Just like a reel for a movie has a specific film in there, our subconscious mind has a specific film inside of it. And these are called subconscious programs or subconscious beliefs or subconscious identities. And we are projecting these particular things onto our reality. So everything you're perceiving right now in your reality is interpreted by your subconscious mind. And so what you see in terms of money, in terms of success, in terms of your relationships, in terms of health, in terms of war in the world, in terms of people being abused and all of this stuff is a reflection of what's going on in your subconscious mind. Now, again, this is quite controversial, but I'm going to explain why and how this is happening in just a sec towards the end of this video. Everyone is you pushed out is implying that, hey, your subconscious mind is attracting these people, circumstances, and events into your life. So when I first found out about this particular concept, it was a little bit strange to me, and it was like, what? How is it my fault that these people are coming into my life? Why is it my fault? How is it my responsibility? Now, it's not exactly your fault, but it is a part of your responsibility to change what you're seeing in your reality, because the truth is you're seeing and experiencing these things. And so the more you use these tools to change what you're seeing, the more you're going to change your life and also change the world. So about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I had a very traumatic breakup, and it was really hard on me emotionally, mentally, and even physically. I was drained, and it was a relationship that I was in for a long period of time, around 6 years. And I had a friendship prior to being with this person. And for me, loyalty is really important. And she ended up cheating. And because of that, I just took it on very heavily, and it was very traumatizing to my being. Now, subconsciously, the film that I was now playing in my mind is relationships don't work, because essentially I put a lot of energy into that particular relationship to try and make it work, and it ended up failing. And so in my mind, I was running a program that relationships don't work. After this particular relationship, I kept on attracting circumstances and situations and women that weren't necessarily ideal for me. I kept on attracting people who needed to be fixed, that were broken, that needed to be healed. And I felt like I was more useful in these relationships because I was cheated on. I felt undervalued, right? I felt like I wasn't valued. And so I kept on attracting people where I felt valued, but it was from a place of them not necessarily being on my wave. I kept on attracting relationships where I was like useful to fulfill that void within inside of me. And so I had to reframe this so I could change what I'm seeing in my life, that I can attract normal, healthy, romantic relationships, and relationships can last long term, and that I need to find someone that's on my wave, and there are people out there on my wave. I need to realize that a lot of relationships fail because they don't implement certain tools, like getting counseling, going to get a mentor, coach, or something, to support the relationship, making sure that you're communicating well and that you establish a strong foundation in the beginning. Things like this, having an actual practical way to follow relationships rather than sort of following romanticism and the idea that, you know, relationships would just work out by themselves. And so if I find someone that's the same mindset as me, then chances are it's going to last long term. There was also a time in my life where I was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder and dyslexia. And so in my mind, I can't read well, I can't write well, and all of this stuff. And so this is the film that I'm projecting into my reality. So whenever I had the opportunity to read or write, it would be hard work, it would be a struggle, it would be difficult. And when I reframed that and I changed it to I learn differently, I learn through watching and kinesthetically doing something, well, my learning became a lot better. I would remember things a lot easier and I would learn information much quicker because I'm actually physically doing it kinesthetically and I can see it visually. Whereas in school, you know, you're reading the book, you're reading text, and, you know, it's not easy for me to retain information in this particular format. And so when I reframed it, it was much easier for me. In fact, recently I wrote an ebook for you guys, which is going to be coming out really soon. And I had a subconscious block stopping me from particularly writing this thing. And so I shifted the subconscious block and immediately I could go ahead and write it and actually enjoy doing it. So in this example, I was attracting people who would read better than me, that could write better than me, and all of this stuff. I would see it and I would compare myself to other people like, oh, I can't write like this guy on social media and I can't do this and whatever it is. And so I would compare my mind. And so I was continually manifesting this into my particular reality. Another one was I can't make $25,000 in a day. I had a mentor at the time and I was just saying, you know, it's not possible to make $25,000 in a day. It's not possible. How is this possible for me? I'm, you know, ADD, young black kid that grew up in the ghetto. Like, how is it possible for me to make this amount of money in a single day? And so I had to reframe that and make it normal and natural for me to make $25,000 in a day. And now I'm able to make $25,000 in a day because the story in my mind is that that's just totally normal and that's just totally natural. But this is a subconscious program, and so it projects into my reality the exact thing that I believe on a subconscious level. The funny thing is, how is everyone you pushed out if there are people starving in the world? There's wars, there's people experiencing racism, there's people who are suffering around the world. Is that my responsibility that they are experiencing those things? Well, what I would say to that is if one person can get enough momentum and influence and project their ideas onto the world will change to that collective belief system. So if there's someone out there like Adolf Hitler and is projecting these ideas through propaganda, through the radio and through the media, that this is the right way and this is the way to do this particular thing, people are going to start believing it. And when people start believing it, guess what? It's now a collective thing. And now we have wars and now we have, you know, racism. All right. And so that's how it works. And so for us, we need to shift that within our subconscious mind and realize that wars are not normal. You know, racism's not normal. All of this stuff's not normal. When we reprogram that in our subconscious mind and we shift that, now we'll start experiencing a different collective belief system. It's all about the collective belief systems when it comes to things like that. But yes, it is still your responsibility to go ahead and shift that, because if you're seeing that and you're experiencing that and it's a part of your emotional triggers, it's triggering you in a way, then that's within your being and that is actually manifesting more of what you don't want. And in fact, when you do that, you actually create an opposition. You create an opposition. The people that feel the opposite way about that are now triggered also because their belief systems are now, you know, activated, and then they're going to press upon you their ideas and their belief systems, and then you see more of the problems circulating in this life. The key is to understand that the pain of others is for you to understand, but not to carry. It's important to understand people's problems, challenges, situations. It's important for us to understand the darkness. It's important for us to understand how the world works and all the bad things that are going into the world, but not to carry it. Okay, we need to know what's going on, and then as we know what's going on, we can get then doing something about it on the internal world and shift that, so then we shift what we're seeing on a collective level. Another little bit of a woo-woo concept, when I took ayahuasca, the ayahuasca actually showed me how trauma is actually passed over from ancestor to ancestor. So your parents and their parents and their parents, the information is passed over. And so if someone has experienced racism or being molested or raped or abused, the DNA, the information is actually passed over to you. And that's why people experience these things as well. All right. Now, this is kind of hard to hear, but that's how it works. And that's what the ayahuasca showed me on the visuals, and it showed me how this stuff is actually happening. And so it's our responsibility to heal that within ourselves, to heal the DNA, to heal the trauma, to heal all of these experiences so that it's not passed forward and continually manifesting over and over again. It's like a virus. And so we want to antivirus ourselves. We want to deprogram ourselves and shift our reality. Here's a powerful video that I made on reprogramming your subconscious mind. And remember to keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Find out what's hidden deep in your subconscious mind blocking your epic future by getting your free subconscious mind diagnosis session through the link in the description.